be able to use this, because this is going to be a pretty cool choose your own adventure for your core today. So we're really going to explore a simplistic way to find, so detect, and then do something about where you're possibly limited, and then we're going to challenge it. And then we're going to go back through and make sure that we actually hold on to that range of motion. So again, number one, we're going to see how we move. Number two, we're going to explore that in a bunch of different positions for our core. And we're going to challenge the position that seems to be able to move as well. And number four, we're going to grade that challenge. So we're going to make sure that that challenge is something that that's progressed. And then we're going to come back to the beginning to make sure that you're moving just as good as when we first challenged it, rather than going back to how we're moving, right? Because again, the quality of motion is what we're looking for, and we're looking to get a little bit of a challenge today. So we're just shifting gears. I will shift from standing to seated to on my side to on my back, and I'm going to give myself a little bit of space so that you can see all that from this. Okay, so I'm really excited for this one. I think you guys are really going to like it. So I'm going to move this back so I get a little more space with the camera. I'm going to shut this blind so that you guys can see a little bit more. All right, shut the blinds. This will be a little quicker of a session, but it's because many times core stuff can only handle about 30 minutes. So we're going to take around 30 minutes and really explore this stuff. So the first thing that we're going to do is standing. We're going to do this in a standing position. I'm going to show you in a bunch of different postures so that you guys can get your footing and follow along with me. So literally the first thing we're going to do is hands across the chest. Feet can be either close. I like to have them right around hip width apart. Hip width would be about right here, a little wider than hip width. And from here, I'm just going to explore going to my right, which would be, you guys heading left, right? Correct. Right, left, that doesn't make any sense. So I'm just going to my right, feeling the feet, feeling the hips, and feeling the torso. My head's going along with it. Instead of looking at the screen as I turn, I want my head to go along with it. And then slowly turn the head to the right as you're going right. So then it's eventually eyes, neck, torso, the whole body's rotating that way. And just explore it. Now, let's see the other way. Notice if it feels the same or if it feels a little different. And eventually turn the whole body with the neck and the eyes looking in that direction. Okay. Now from here, with your hands by your side, I'm just going to tilt. I have my feet a little wider on this one too to give me some support. I'm going to tilt to my left, back to neutral. I'm going to tilt again, see if it feels okay. My head goes along with the rod. Make sure that the neck feels okay. If you go down and you feel stuck, just ease into it. So as I do this, I kind of feel this side letting me down instead of squeezing this side. And then I pull myself back up. It lets me down from the rib cage to this outside leg as I stabilize through my inside leg, and then I pull myself back up. I'm just going to explore that a couple times to see if it's the same on both sides. Notice how it relates to how I rotated left or how I rotated to the right. And I'm going to do the other side. So moving to the right side with side bends a little more difficult than sliding to the left for me. And rotating left was more difficult than rotating right. So I'm keeping track of that in my brain right now. And I tend to feel this side more than this side as I'm letting myself down. So for some reason, this side is having difficulty letting me down and then pulling myself back up. So I'm just thinking about those things. Now from here, I want to see how I arch. So from here, I'm just going to arch and come back and arch and come back, arch, come back. A lot of people want to do this with their hips. I'm just arching my upper back and then coming back to neutral rather than swaying my hips forward. Keep those legs in one spot, arch, back to neutral, arch, back to neutral, arch, back to neutral. Okay, now just the opposite. This time hands by your side and curl, back to neutral. Again, my hips are staying pretty level. So if I was curling, I'm here. Rather than my butt going back and coming down, I'm just rolling my chest forward and then coming back up. Rolling forward, coming back up. Rolling forward, coming back up. And rolling forward and coming back up. Now, we could go and explore a whole lot more than just that. Like we could rotate and side bend, rotate and side bend. But that gets a little into the weeds of what we're looking to do. So we're just looking at three major things: spinning, side bending, and flexing with extending. Okay, so just the three major components. Now from here, you have your choice. You can either sit on a chair or you can sit on the floor. Either way. I want to make sure that if you're sitting on a chair that it's pretty stable. Sitting on the floor, it's perfectly fine. Whatever is the most comfortable. There are different positions, and that's totally okay with different amounts of strength. If you have trouble on the floor, choose a chair. And we're just going to explore what we did when we were standing to see if they're the same, right? So from here, I'm going to slowly spin right. Notice if your legs want to move along with it, right? So I'm just going to lightly spin my torso to the right. I don't have a whole lot of spin, and that's okay. I'm looking to my right as I'm doing this, and then back to the middle. And now the left. Good. Hands by your side, side bend, left. And now right. I'm still a lot limited to my right. More than anything now. So that's in the forefront of my mind of, I'm not moving that well to my right. Okay. Now I'm going to curl. In the order of this, you can change the order up. I'm just hitting all my bases. Last time I did extension first, but changing it up to flexion, and that's okay too. And now arching. Noticing if it feels the same as when you were standing. Okay, now that we did that, we're going to take this to the floor. Taking it to the floor. So now, I'm going to take a look at how I'm rotating. So I'm going to put my foot on top of my thigh. You can place it on the ground. It's up to you. I'm going to change my angle a little bit so you can see this a little better. Right there. Okay, so here's one angle for my rotation, keeping my shoulders on the ground, and literally my pelvis, it's not going over, it's going kind of up and over, the direction of this thigh. My pelvis comes up and over lightly as my shoulders stay on the ground. So I'm just exploring how my shoulders stay on the ground as my hips, as my right hip is coming off the ground and my left hip is staying on the ground. And I'm going to switch that. Good. Now, hands by your side. I want you to see how you slide down to one side. Now how you slide down to the other side. Notice if it feels the same as when you're standing, or does it feel different? Okay, now we're going to do the same thing, but on your stomach. Reach down to the right. Reach down to the left. That's a tough one. Okay, rotate right. Rotate left. Arch up. Good. On your back, you see the curl. So with the knees bent, I just want to see how your body curls. If that's easy. Good. Now on our side, I bend the knees to start. I put my head on my arm. And now from here, I'm going to try to anchor my feet and lift my knees up off the ground while my hips stay on the ground. Pelvic approximation. So in order for my knees to go this way, my torso's got to rotate the opposite way with my hand stabled into the ground. And we're going to do the other side. Okay, from here, raise up, trying to reach towards your knee to see side bending. And let's see the other side. Now from here, curl. You can support your neck on this one too. Curl. And extend. Let's go to the other side for that too. Curl. And extend. Really cool. Now, we've gone through our range of motion. What I want you to do is I want you to pick out the range of motion that seemed like it moved the least that you would like to improve, that felt fine. No pain, no aches. It's just difficult to move. And that's exactly the range of motion that we're going to work on today. So, and this is how we're going to do it. So for me, it was going to my right side. My right side was pretty difficult in a majority of the cases. So to start out, I'm going to directly challenge that side, okay? And I want to see how it affected how I feel, right? So what I'm going to do was, if it was rotation, right, this is your choice. So if your rotation was off going one way, we're going to, like, say it was tough for you to rotate to your right. What we're going to do is you're going to be on your right side to start, and we're going to push the legs left to start. And we're going to do it by just holding. If it was side bending, right, if you had trouble on your back and reaching to your right or reaching to your left, right, then whatever side that you had trouble on, we're going to go the opposite side. So for me, because I had trouble side bending to my right, I'm going to start on my left side. Because what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to raise up and reach. So I'm directly opposed by gravity on this one. That's just what I'm choosing, right? So in this choose your own adventure with rotation, if it was extension, go ahead and start on your stomach and lightly pull yourself up. If it was flexion, we'll start on your back and try to curl. We're going to maximize the range of motion that you want to get better at, right? So from here, I'm going to choose side bending. So from here, hand will be on my hip. And from here, I'm going to challenge it very simply. I'm going to try to pull both my legs up off of the ground and then relax. And up, pull my legs up. I'm going to try to pull them off the ground, but they're pretty much on the ground. And then relax. I want to feel all of the side of my body. Slowly pick them up. Then relax. And pick them up. Then relax. And pick them up. Then relax. And pick them up. And relax. Cool. Now, if you chose side bend, right, what we're going to do in that way that we just practiced this, number one, in your seated position, just see how your side bend is doing. Notice if it got a little bit better. It probably did. If it was rotation, see how your rotation is doing from a seated position to see if it's changed. Right? Now, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to train this even harder. Right? We're going to push a little bit harder. But when we do it, I want to make sure that it's still from the same stuff that we were working on before. So what it's going to look like is I'm going to find either an object, or I can even use the floor for friction, right? So if I'm in a position for side bending and I want to try to push my legs towards the side that I'm side bending to, I'm going to try to use the floor for friction like I'm trying to slide them to the right, right? So in this case, with rotation, if I want to work on how my body rotates to the right, I'm going to shove my legs to the left into something, right? So if I chose rotation, it's literally push lightly into a wall with both legs as your shoulders stay flat into the ground, right here. And we're going to work on those isometrics right now, and we're going to gradually ramp them up. So if you'd like to have something to shove into, you can just choose a wall, or you can choose the friction of the ground as you lightly push down and out simultaneously. It's up to you. Right? I like to use the ground because it's light enough. I choose to do this pretty light to start, and then we'll ramp up how difficult it can be. Okay? So from here, legs are straight. I'm going to try to push them to the right. I'm going to hold them there for a 3 count and relax. And slowly again, I'm pushing my legs right because I'm working on my right side bending. Then relax them. And again, push them to the right. I'm pushing both legs to the right. Feeling all those ab muscles, some of those back muscles. And relaxing. And again, gradually pushing to the right. Push a little harder. A little harder. And relax it. I'm going to take this to about 75% of your ability. Slowly ramp it up. And relax it. And again. Now relax it. And this time I want you to give me everything you got. Slowly ramp it up and push. Really push. Push, 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 push. And relax. Really good. Now from here, the range of motion that you chose in the seated position, again, I want you to see how you rotate and how you side bend. That should be even more free. Should feel pretty darn good. Flexion, extension. feel more open. Now, the last part of this, we're going to do one plank, one pillar, plank, whatever you'd like to call it. And when we're going to do this is I want you to make sure that we're focusing on your primary range of motion. So if you had a side lying range of motion where you're trying to work on your ability to go into side bending, what we're going to do is that side will be down. You can do this with your hand against the wall. You can do this with your elbow on the ground. You can do this elevated with your arms on a chair. The higher up you are, the easiest it will be. So if you want to start for a side lying plank, you can start with your arm on top of something higher, and we can hold it here. If we're rotating, you're going to be in a down position, and whatever way you're trying to rotate, I want you to try to push both arms in that direction. And that's what we're going to hold. So we're either rotating or side bending in this one, right? So from here, because I was off in my side bend to my right in all those positions, I'm going to challenge my side bending, and then I want to see how it looks as we're finishing up with this. So I'm going to be on my side, foot on top of foot, and I'm just going to hold this position. And I want to feel all these side benders engage. And just because we're working in these positions, all these other muscles are calibrating along with it. Just because we're choosing this means that we're honestly working the entire system. We're just trying to work the entire system in a little bit biased way. We're just going to hold it. And when it fatigues out, just stop. It's totally okay to stop when it's fatigued rather than just collapsing. So I'm feeling some good fatigue build up, and now I'm going to relax it. Okay. So now we're going to exhibit what we got out of it to make sure that our range of motion is getting better, all right? So again, looking at my rotation, a lot smoother. Side bend, a lot better. Flexion, extension, pretty darn good. I'm going to challenge it one more time, and I'm going to recheck it one more time. Let's go. That same exercise that you did. Remember, if it was rotation, both hands down. If I'm having trouble rotating the right, I'm going to put both hands right. If I have trouble rotating the left, both hands will try to rotate. Both arms will try to go to the left. Okay? So I'm going to do the one. Again, side bending to the right was off on me, so I'm going to challenge my right side. It should help all of those other positions feel more free. So I'm just going to hold it here. I'm going to concentrate through the whole side of my body. If the shoulder's not feeling good, right, if it feels off in the shoulder, you can literally lie on your side and try to lift both legs up into the air like we did when we first started. That's another thing to do as well, because the shoulder can be a little difficult sometimes, right? I'm just going to hold that position. When you fatigue, it's okay to stop, right? When you fatigue, it's done. Just acknowledge how the body feels, make sure it's okay, because pushing it too far on the core day gets to be a little bit much for the rest of the week. I want you to feel better. Now I'm fatigued, and I'm stopping. All right, recheck the range. Rotate, rotate. Now I got a ton of range. Side bend, even better. Better now to the side that I was worse with than the other side. And then flexion, extension. Great job today, everybody. You have an opportunity to see how, when you go through and explore the different ranges of motion, how and what you can do about it. So hopefully you learned a little bit of a lesson today that you can apply. And if you continue to cycle through different ab exercises this way to explore, is my rotation okay? Is my side bend okay? Is my flexion extension okay? The position matters. So toying around with that gives you a whole different approach to be able to train your core. Okay, guys? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. And I'm looking forward to catching up with everybody really, really soon. So it's good to see your faces and Lissa and Clayton's name on my screen. So I'll be catching up soon. Michael, I will see you in the AM tomorrow. We'll see you guys.